Hey, Dr. Ada Wells here, and I am going to show you a few little simple things you can do with the Balansit and also with a rotator disc. Now, the rotator disc is it's separate prop. This happens to be kind of more the hardcore type here, the wooden type. But Balance Body sells a version that is called a precision rotator disc. Get it with no resistance. It's actually far more inexpensive and it works perfectly. Just really quick, the way the Balance Sit is designed, they are in three different sizes: small, medium, large. Smalls generally are designed more for if you're either very petite or for kids. Most people probably are in the medium category. If you're over 6 feet, maybe you're a little bit, once again, there's a bit of looking at weight on here, you may want the large. I am using a large. I'm 6 feet tall. This is the most comfortable for me. So anyways, the way it is shaped, you have, when you sit on here, you can actually have a little bit of side to side motion, but the way it's shaped, you also have a little bit forward and back motion. And the shape here is actually designed, this is where the pelvic floor is located. So when we sit down, and you have the sit bones that are just located, they're going to be sitting just behind where where you have the back part of this little curve. What that does is when you're sitting down, it encourages your pelvic floor to turn on. Now, not in a way that's gripping, but in a way that's just supportive. So without you having to think about, oh, I got to do my pelvic floor, Kegel exercises every day, which sometimes tend to be more binding because people don't do them correctly. The Balance Sit has a more natural way of facilitating that, and even just there's a lot of ways we can actually get more specific, but we're not going to worry about that in this video. So I actually have two balance discs on on my reformer box, and the reason why is I'm tall. So this works fine with a single one. I'm using it simply for height. But the top one is going to provide a little bit of rotation back and forth, which is nice. Once again, you don't need the rotator disc to enjoy the benefits of the Balance Sit, but for what I'm going to show you, it definitely will enhance it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just sit on the Balance Sit, and if you notice, my sit bones, I don't want to be too far forward. If I am, it sort of it kind of makes me go into a bit more of an anterior tilt, and I feel like I'm going to fall off the front side of this. And by contrast, if I get too far on the other side, it's going to make me feel like I'm going to fall into a posterior tilt and fall off the back side of it. So there is that Goldilocks moment where you've got to find that place that feels just right, and you usually know. It's kind of the place where you feel most balanced. Now here's the thing, a lot of times when you're sitting, there's a tendency, whether you're sitting or standing, to kind of collapse to the side that especially if you maybe have a little scoliosis, you might have a tendency to sort of collapse to one side. And so you end up having a side that's lengthened and another side that might not be doing anything. Now, this is just normal if you're sitting on a regular chair. And then you will basically all the tissues just kind of sit there and, congregate and it's very compressive to the spine. But when you're sitting on the Balance Sit, it's an active sitting. So you can kind of feel if you just sit on here and you let your pelvis do a little side to side rocking, you can feel how there's a lengthening of either side of the spine and the low back. All right. Now, you can at your desk go ahead and put one hand down just on the side of your chair, reach one arm up to the ceiling, and just gently get a little bit of a side bend over to one side. All right. We can come back up. We can do the same. So once you get a little more comfortable, you can certainly increase that amount of kind of lengthening you're getting. So think about really reaching up towards the ceiling as opposed to trying to do a curve to the side. Because really the way the Balance Sit is shaped, it's going to enable you to get that length in through the lower part of the back, into your low back area, and just enable you to feel that elongation. Okay, so you can start with a little bit of that, and already when we come back up, and you can just come back up to a regular position, your body is already staying balanced. It's already kicking in and neurologically allowing you to say, hey, yes, I got myself that motion, but now I'm actually doing something active to maintain this yumminess in my spine. Okay? Now, we can go ahead and we can play a little bit with, I've got myself in this comfortable position, but we can rock a little bit forward and back. Just it's kind of like you're riding a horse. You can kind of, imagine there's this gentle rocking going on. But because of the shape of this, we can start to take it into some circles. So just allow yourself just to kind of play with kind of a little sort of a circular motion, letting yourself roll from one side all the way back. You can kind of watch me from the side here. I'm just letting my spine move, and you can switch directions. All right, so it's kind of like doing a little hula hoop type of movement down in the lower part of the spine. So this is great when you're at the computer. Once again, you can be doing this just as your kind of rest position. And you might find and notice and pay attention to, it may be easier for you to go around circles one direction than it is to go the other direction. Now, one thing that I like to do is to go ahead and take hold of the, of your desk or of your chair, and just let yourself, just to stabilize your upper body, just let yourself sort of side to side, get a little rotation in the bottom half of your body. So your pelvic headlights are rotating back and forth, and your knees are just following along. Now you can hold on to your desk, which may feel a little more natural to do this, or if you don't have anything to hold on to, just try to keep your upper body steady and just let this move back and forth. You don't have to do it really fast. You don't have to do it really hard or really far, but you can certainly just kind of do it to turn on just some of the obliques here, and just feeling how the lower body can move separately. Now let's go ahead and keep the low body steady, and let's just let the upper body move a little back and forth. For the golfers in the room, this is certainly what you want to be considering. But even better is when we actually start to move the two sides opposite of each other. So pretending that the headlights of your chest, or the sort of sternal spotlight, as I like to say, is shining opposite of the pelvic headlights. Okay, so we're getting that oppositional movement. You do that oppositional movement in gait. You do this oppositional movement in throwing or punching activities or swinging activities. So for the athletes out there, this is really nice. And then we can go ahead and come back. Now, it's great to kind of, in between some of these, take a little walk around the room just to kind of integrate and to also feel what you're feeling. And certainly don't be shy about repositioning yourself, because sometimes you slide a little bit. All right, last little thing we're going to do here is take a resistance band, and you're going to, I like it if you can make it as flat as you can so that you can kind of cover some surface area around your lower ribs. And you're just going to take it, and you know what, I'm going to have you cross your band in the front, so that, and you're going to choke up on that band so that when you bring it in front of you, you're kind of, I call this serving the cookies. Your elbows are in and you can push the band outward. Now you can certainly do this without crossing in the front, all right? But the reason why I'm going to have you cross here is just for a little bit more feedback in your lower ribs. You can kind of feel what's going on. And what I'm going to have you do, just a couple of reps, just kind of feel yourself sort of serve the cookies and bring things back. Now, as you're doing this, you should feel there's just yes, you're going to feel it in your arms, but you should feel that when you are really reaching forward with those elbows directed inwards, thinking about leading with the pinkies, this is connecting you more into the front side of your body here a little bit, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and take your legs and just start to sway them opposite of the direction of the band. And you can go ahead and take your band and start to actually really kind of giving a little extra reach. So if you're reaching your knees to the right, giving a little extra reach towards the left with your right hand. Okay, so it's like you're just trying to sort of encourage a little bit more of that rotation. Now, this right now in this orientation with the crossed band, once again, may give you a little bit of feedback, a little more feedback around the rib cage. But I'm also going to invite you to take it now uncross, and we're going to do the same thing. So serve your cookies, just kind of see what that feels like. Make sure you have enough resistance that you can straighten your arms almost all the way, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to just do that little punch back and forth. All right, and you might be able to, you might prefer the band crossed, you might prefer it uncrossed. So they both have their benefits. So just go ahead, do a few of these, and just really feel yourself lengthen and reach with the arm each time you go, okay? Now let's come back. I invite you now to put things down. Go ahead and stand up. Take a little walk around your room and appreciate that you have this dissociation of your upper body and your lower body. So they're both creating, they're both talking to each other, and you have this sort of movement of your pelvis that can kind of move a little bit more in this more elliptical manner as opposed to either being really tied down or you having too much sway side to side when you're walking. So anyways, Balansit is a really fantastic, very easy thing that you can have, that you can work with in your house, at your desk, and there's a lot of other things we can do with it in some of our classes and our programs. So anyways, just wanted to introduce you to that, introduce you to a few little things you can try, and yeah, and see how that goes.